manually installing a WordPress blog using FTP. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of downloading the free WordPress blog software, uploading it to your website, and installing it. It's not as hard as you think, so don't be nervous. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is to download the software. In order to get the software, go to wordpress.org. Okay, to get the software, it's at wordpress.org. If you go to wordpress.com, that's the site for their hosted blog. So we want to go to wordpress.org. Okay, just find the icon that says download WordPress and then download it. What we're going to do is right click and do a save as, and that way we can put it exactly where we want it. Once it's downloaded, let's go find it. Okay, here's the file we just downloaded, and all you need to do is basically just right click, find your WinZip, say extract to here. What that's going to do is it's going to create a folder called WordPress. I labeled it with the version number. It will give you just the word WordPress. Okay, again, for my own purposes, I labeled it with the current version number. Okay, once you've got it unzipped, the first thing you really ought to do is to navigate inside the WordPress folder until you find a file called readme.html. That's going to give you the lowdown on how to install this. They call this the famous 5-minute install, and it just so happens they're pretty much right. It does not take long to install this whatsoever. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and follow along with their installation process. Now the first thing was to unzip the package in an empty directory and upload everything. So we're going to go ahead and now upload everything we just downloaded. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, using my FTP software, now I'm using a software called Smart FTP. There are many out there. There's a video in the members area that show you where to download a free FTP software called FileZilla. Okay, so once you open up your FTP software, go ahead and connect to the site that you're going to be installing your blog. And you're going to go ahead and navigate into the folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new folder within my file structure here, and we're going to call it blog. Okay, now I'm going to open up that blog folder I just put in there, and you'll see it's empty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything and upload. Okay, as you can see down here, everything is uploading. So we're going to give this a minute or two to upload, and then we'll continue. Okay, as you can see, all the files have been uploaded, so we're ready to continue with our process. Let's go back to our README file. The next step is telling you to open up / what this means here, when you see just this, what they're telling you here is go to yourdomain.com / folder if required, and then / wp-admin / install.php. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, once you get to the right page, the install page, you're going to see a message similar to this one. There doesn't seem to be a wp-config.php file. I need this before we can get started. Now what you're going to probably need to do here is, they're telling you to go ahead and create it manually, but I'm going to show you something here. When you unzipped the blog software, you look inside the list of files, and you're going to see a file here called wp-config-sample.php. Okay, this is a sample. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open this up in a text editor, okay, such as Notepad. I happen to use a program called Edit Plus, and this is what it looks like inside that PHP file. And the reason why this is important is because of our next steps. You need to populate this with some information. So that's what we're going to do next. Going back to our README file, it's telling you it will take you through the process to set up a config file with your database connection details. Now I hear you saying, what does that mean? We don't know anything about no database. Alright, this is where part of the manual installation comes in. You're going to need to log in to your website's admin or control panel. For this demonstration, I'm using a site with cPanel installation. If your web hosts use something other than cPanel, you may need to contact them for information on how to set up a database. Again, this video only shows you how to do it through cPanel. Alright, inside your cPanel, you're going to scroll down until you get to a section here called MySQL Databases. Go ahead and click on that. And you're going to go ahead and create a database. So give it a name. Let's call this blog. How apropos. We're going to create the database. Now I want you to take note. It's telling you that it's added the database, but you didn't give it all this. You just said blog, didn't you? Okay, well I'm going to cover that in a few minutes, but you need to take note of the wording in front of the word you just selected. Okay, so let's go back. Now we created the database. You can see it here, but we need a user. I'm going to go ahead and create a new user. I'm going to call this user blog. We're going to need a password. Again, this is one of those situations where you would need a good, solid, secure password. You don't need people hacking into your database. We suggest using letters, numbers, and possibly even some different characters such as a slash or an asterisk. So let's go ahead and create a password. Okay, you can see it says very strong. You can also use this password generator and it'll make one for you. Now we're going to go ahead and create user. Now here you see, added the user blog with the password that you selected. Again, you're going to need to remember all of this. This is all the information that's going to go into your wp-config file. Okay, moving on. Click Go Back. Now there is another step you need to do. Now you notice we created a blog and we created a user, but the user is not assigned yet. So what we need to do is scroll down to the area that says Add User to Database. So we're going to add the user blog to the database blog. So go ahead and click Add. And then go ahead and click on All Privileges. And you'll see that'll pre-check all of the boxes. Click Make Changes. Now it's confirming once again that the user was added to the database. Alright, now as you can see, we're all finished setting up the actual database. So now what we need to do is add all that information to our configuration file. Now I had you open up the config file to manually populate it, but I wanted to show you this first because you can, with certain hosts, create your configuration file this way. Go ahead and click on this Create a Configuration File button right here. And it's going to tell you before you move on that you're going to need certain information, such as the database name, username, password, host, and prefix. Now that's what basically we just did, so you're going to need that information handy. So let's click Let's Go. Now all that information you just took down, we're going to go ahead and we're going to type in here. Now remember, when you created the database name and the username using a cPanel system, we had to put the website username with an underscore in front of the other name. So let's go ahead and do that. That's the database name, and that's the database username, password. Now, database host will stay localhost, and table prefix you can also leave the same. And then from here you'll click Submit. Now, again, this is one way to do it, but not all web hosts will allow you to do it this way. So, what we're going to do then is just go back for just a second. So remember that file we opened up in the text editor? Now you're going to see some areas where we need to include. Alright, so now DB name, that means database name. That's this information here, database name. Now, getting back to this, cPanel systems always put your site username in front with an underscore in front of the name you chose for the database, and they do the same for user. So even though I just chose blog, it put FindAPro underscore in front of the word blog. That is necessary for this to work. So we're going to go ahead and either type or copy the database name and put it right here. Go delete what's there. Make sure you don't delete the two quote marks here. And we're going to do the same thing for the database user. Right in between the two quotes, we're going to put in the username. And of course, the password is the password of the database that you just created. Define a database or DB host. It should be pre-filled with the word localhost. Don't touch. Leave it as localhost. Don't touch this one here, and don't touch this one here. Okay, so that's all you need to do for this point in time. We need to do a save as, because we need to now save this as a wp-config.php without the word sample in it. Now we go back to our FTP, and you'll note here it is, wp-config. Go ahead and upload that file. Okay, let's make sure it's in there. And there it is. So now, let's go ahead and return to this screen right here. It's telling you that it knows that the wp-config file is there, which is true because we just put it there. Now it's telling you here that if you need to reset anything, go ahead and delete it, and then try again. But we don't need to do that, so we're going to go ahead and try installing now. Great, so far so good. Now let's scroll down. We're going to give this site a title. We'll call this Find a Profitable Niche. Give yourself a username. It's preloaded with the word admin. That's a pretty common one. You can use that or change it. We're going to go ahead and give this a password. Put it in again. Okay. And then, of course, your email. Allow my site to appear in search engines. Yes, why not? That's the whole point, isn't it? Click Install WordPress. Okay, now, if you're successful, you'll get to this screen, and it's going to tell you your username, and it's reminding you that the password is the one that you've chosen. And we did that during the setup just about a minute ago. So go ahead and click Login. And there you have it. We are now in the WordPress blog that you just installed manually. Let's go ahead and just make sure. Let's take a look at the front page. Oh, look at that, huh? That is the default template that comes with it. There's the title you installed. Okay, and there's your tagline that you can change. And that's it. So you just successfully installed your WordPress blog. Congratulations.